All right, let's log on to Schoology and go to our course. And in the upcoming, you should see an activator. Okay, if you didn't finish yesterday's test, you need to take care of that first. I reopened it for today only. You need to take care of your test first if you did not finish your test yesterday. All right, so we're going to start with our activator today. So open up your activator. Today we're going to be explaining how and why borders between countries are formed. So a boundary is a real or an imagined line that marks the edge or the limits of an area. So in this activity, you're going to actually be observing several real boundaries that can be found all around the world. So I want you to look at the pictures closely, and then there's some pictures that follow. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight some of the pictures with you. Hadrian's Wall, this is Scotland and England. This is the beach of Usedom, and this is Germany and Poland. This is a street that runs from Spain to Portugal. Here you can see Belarus and Lithuania. This next picture features Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This one is India and Pakistan. This is Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. This is Russia and Estonia. Okay, so you can go back and look at those more closely when you do your bell ringer, but here's what I want you to answer in complete sentences. What are some of the ways countries around the world are divided? What can you tell about relationships between countries? And then I want you to actually use evidence from the pictures. So if you say something about a relationship, go back to one of the pictures that tells you about the countries and tell me what you can see about their relationship. And then what might cause conflict between neighboring countries? So doing some predicting here. What do you know about the world? What do you think would be reasons of why there could be conflict? So now you're going to stop the video and then you're going to go work on your bell ringer. Start the video when we're finished. All right, so you're back and now you're ready to go to today's assignment. Today's assignment can be found in one of two places in the political geography folder. Notice we're in Unit 4. All of these assignments will be added to Quarter 4, but they're coming up right now in Quarter 3, but I'll move all of those when I get back next week. So we are actually on the assignment Drawing Political Borders. So if you guys will choose that assignment. So this is an assignment that has a document for you. So you're going to go ahead and pull that document up, but then you want to come back to the Schoology page. So go ahead and do My Document and Edit. Get your document open. It'll open in a new browser, but then come back to Schoology and press the Assignment tab. All right, so again, we're working with how we can explain how and why borders between countries are formed. So I want you to think about some different types of borders. Borders can be real or imagined lines. They limit or delimit geographic feature that separates one country, state, or province from another. So they're all around the world, and they are putting basic boundaries around things. A region is defined as an area or a division, especially part of a country of the world that has definable characteristics, but not always a fixed boundary. Okay, so I want you to think about some different types of borders. They can be physical borders or they can be man-made borders. You're going to draw some political borders on the blank outline map of this landmass. Okay, so the substitute's going to give you a map. And here on your page, you can see this is what your map looks like, but it's blown up on your paper. And then there is a map that shows religions in the area. There's a map that shows mountains and rivers in the area. So all of these lines would be rivers. Okay, these would be mountains. Here is a map that shows different languages. So the different directions, okay, so like the lines going this way would be a language, the lines going that way would be a language, the crisscross would be a language, okay? So all of those are different languages. All right, so take those into mind. You've got the 4 different maps to take a look at. Now we're going to do this in parts. So I want first for you to look at your 4 maps, okay? Then decide where you're going to draw the political boundaries. So basically what you're doing here is creating countries. Okay? So draw lines with a pencil to show where you think each country's boundaries should be. Okay, think about the resources, the language, and the religions. Are those going to influence how you draw borders? I want you to choose a pencil to do this because we're going to come back and draw again in just a few minutes. All right, once you have finished drawing your boundaries on your outline map, I want you to answer questions 1 and 2 on your document. Only questions 1 and 2. 1 says, how many regions do you establish? And what are your reasons for those borders? Okay, so you got to tell me why. Why did you draw them the way you did? And how many did you draw? And then number 2, what are some things that might shape a country's border? Okay, so what do you think goes into play when we're talking about a construction of a border? What's shaping that border? So stop the video and take some time to create your borders and then answer questions 1 and 2. All right, you're back and you're ready for the next part. So the next part is you're going to talk about what you did on your map with your peers, okay? So we're going to spend a few minutes talking to the people who sit at our table. Don't get up and move. Just talk with the people who are seated at your table and show them your borders and talk about why you put the borders that you put. Then once you've done that, make a decision as to what you would change based on the conversation that you have. And so any changes that you make need to be done in colored pencil. Okay, so be ready to change your borders based on the conversation that you have, and then use a colored pencil to redraw any borders that you'd like to redraw. And then once you've done that, you're going to go answer the remaining questions. So number 3, do you think physical features such as rivers are more important than cultural ones such as language? Why or why not? So are the rivers and the mountains more important than the fact that somebody speaks a certain language? Question 4, what would happen if you split a physical feature between 2 countries? So can we share mountains? Can we share a forest? Can we share a river? And if so, what does that look like for both countries? Can there be problems with that? Okay, think about that. Question 5, would people in the countries be able to share the land and or the resources? Or would they constantly fight over its use? So what do you think about that? Do you think that there are countries who are able to share? Or do you think there's countries who are fighting? And what might they do? You can think back to the pictures you looked at this morning. I think some of the pictures were evidence of some of the relationships that countries have. And part of that could be due to the land and the resources that are there. And then question 6, what would happen if a country had a mix of different cultural features, such as language and religion? Would this impact how the people live and work together in that country? And how? So you come from America, the land of the free, the land of opportunity. Do you think it matters in other countries when there are different languages and religions mixed within that country? If so, what? What do you think it could be? How do you think that could impact the people? What kinds of problems or conflicts could that potentially cause? Okay, so remember that you're answering these questions on my document, and then once you're finished with that, you submit the document. Do not share it with me. Submit it. Come back to Schoology and submit it. Make sure you answer all your questions in complete sentences. And then turn the physical map that you drew into the substitute.